Imagine for a second that you just found out that something you probably have in your kitchen right now, something you might even eat every single day, is currently being studied by scientists not for how it tastes or how it fills you up, but for its ability to actually fight one of the most feared diseases on the planet. And here is the twist. It's not some exotic berry from the Amazon that costs $50 a pound. It is a food that has been sitting in plain sight for centuries, but only now are researchers starting to understand its hidden power. We are talking about the kind of discoveries that make you look at your grocery cart a little differently. Because the truth is, when it comes to cancer prevention, the hype around so-called superfoods often overshadows the quiet, everyday heroes that might actually be doing the heavy lifting. And what if I told you that one of the most promising foods on this list is something that people have been throwing away or peeling off their dinner plate for years? Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you are going to have a completely new perspective on 5 ordinary foods that scientists are now putting under the microscope. And the evidence is starting to change how we think about dinner. So let's start with number 1, and I promise you this one is going to shock you. It is garlic. Now, I know what you are thinking. Garlic? The smelly little clove that makes your breath smell? Yes, that garlic. But here is what is fascinating. When you crush or chop a clove of garlic, it releases a compound called allicin. And allicin doesn't just hang around. It breaks down into other sulfur-containing compounds that, in laboratory studies, have shown a remarkable ability to slow down or even stop the proliferation of cancer cells. But here is where it gets really interesting and why scientists are so excited. It's not just about eating a whole clove of raw garlic, which, by the way, please don't do that on an empty stomach unless you want a world of heartburn. The research is pointing to the fact that the way you prepare it matters immensely. If you just toss whole cloves into a hot pan and fry them immediately, you might actually be destroying the very enzyme that helps form those protective compounds. The trick, according to some studies, is to crush or slice the garlic, and then let it sit for about 10 to 15 minutes before cooking. This allows the alliinase enzymes to get to work and form the beneficial sulfur compounds that are stable enough to survive the heat. We are talking about a simple, almost zero-effort change in your cooking routine that could maximize the potential benefits of something you are probably already eating. And this isn't just folklore. There are population studies suggesting that people who consume high amounts of garlic have a lower risk of certain cancers, particularly those of the digestive system. So the next time you are making a stir-fry or a pasta sauce, remember that 10-minute rule. It might just be the most important part of your recipe. Now, moving on to the second food, and this one is a little more controversial because it has been demonized for so long. I am talking about mushrooms. For years, mushrooms were just seen as a bland, watery vegetable with not much nutritional value. But modern science is telling a completely different story. Mushrooms are the only source of vitamin D in the produce aisle, provided they are grown with exposure to UV light. But that is just the beginning. There is a powerful antioxidant found in almost all mushrooms, but especially in varieties like shiitake, maitake, and even the common white button mushroom, called ergothioneine. Now, ergothioneine is a mouthful, so let's just call it the longevity compound. Our bodies cannot make it. We have to get it from food. And what researchers have discovered is that this compound is a potent protector of our DNA. It helps mitochondria, the power plants of our cells, function efficiently and reduces oxidative stress, which is one of the key drivers of cellular damage that can lead to cancer. But here is the part that blew my mind. A study from Penn State suggested that people who ate mushrooms regularly had a lower risk of breast cancer, and the effect was significant. But the key is consistency. You can't eat a portobello burger once a month and expect a shield against cancer. This is about integrating them into your routine. And don't make the mistake of peeling them. Just wipe them clean with a damp paper towel. Peeling them strips away a lot of the beneficial compounds and the fiber. And if you are worried about cooking them, a quick sauté in a little olive oil not only makes them taste amazing, but also helps your body absorb their nutrients more effectively. It is a simple, savory addition to eggs, pasta, or even just as a side dish that packs a surprising amount of scientific backing. All right, let's talk about number 3. And this one is for everyone who loves a good cup of tea, but also for those who might be making a critical mistake that is robbing them of its benefits. We are talking about green tea. You have probably heard about the antioxidants in green tea, specifically a catechin called EGCG. And yes, the research is robust. EGCG has been shown in numerous studies to induce apoptosis, which is a fancy way of saying it helps your body get rid of abnormal or damaged cells before they can turn into something more sinister. It also inhibits angiogenesis, which is the process by which tumors create new blood vessels to feed themselves. So, green tea is basically cutting off the supply lines to potential cancer cells. But here is the mistake that almost everyone makes. They buy a box of green tea bags, pour boiling water over them, and let it steep for a minute. And that is where the problem lies. Boiling water can actually destroy those delicate catechins. The ideal temperature for green tea is around 160 to 180 degrees Fahrenheit. If you don't have a thermometer, just let that boiling water sit for a couple of minutes before pouring it over the tea. And the steeping time matters too. You need to let it steep for at least 3 to 5 minutes to really extract the EGCG. The other mistake? Buying decaf green tea. The process of decaffeination often strips out a significant portion of these beneficial compounds. And while we are on the subject, a squeeze of lemon in your tea can make the catechins more stable and easier for your body to absorb. It is a tiny adjustment to a daily habit that could dramatically increase the return on your investment. Number 4 is probably sitting in your pantry right now, and it is one of the most versatile and overlooked cancer-fighting foods on the planet. It is the humble tomato. Now, tomatoes are famous for lycopene, which is the pigment that makes them red. Lycopene is a powerful antioxidant that has been linked to a reduced risk of prostate cancer, as well as other cancers. But here is the fascinating part that most people get completely wrong. They think eating a raw tomato salad is the best way to get lycopene. And while that is healthy, it is actually not the most efficient way. Lycopene is what we call a fat-soluble nutrient, meaning it needs fat to be properly absorbed by your body. So that caprese salad with fresh mozzarella and a drizzle of olive oil, that is actually a perfect combination from a nutritional standpoint. But here is the real kicker. Cooking tomatoes actually increases the bioavailability of lycopene. The heat breaks down the cell walls of the tomato, releasing more of the lycopene than you could get from eating them raw. So a rich, slow-simmered tomato sauce made with a little olive oil is arguably one of the best ways to get a concentrated dose of this protective compound. And don't even get me started on ketchup. Most commercial ketchups are loaded with sugar and high-fructose corn syrup, which can actually promote inflammation, the exact opposite of what you want. If you are going to eat processed tomatoes, look for something like tomato paste in a glass jar or make your own sauce. It is about working smarter, not harder, with the foods you already love. And finally, we have arrived at number 5, and this is the one that people are probably most surprised about. It is cruciferous vegetables, but specifically, I want to talk about broccoli and its often discarded parts. Broccoli is a superstar, and we all know that. It contains sulforaphane, a compound that is widely studied for its ability to boost the body's detoxification enzymes and protect cells from damage. Sulforaphane is like the cleanup crew for your cells, sweeping away the gunk that can lead to cancer. But here is the secret that scientists are buzzing about. The highest concentration of these glucosinolates, the precursors to sulforaphane, is not actually in the florets. It is in the broccoli sprouts, and get this, the leaves and the stems. Most people buy a head of broccoli, cut off the florets, and throw the stem and leaves in the trash. But the stem is packed with fiber and these beneficial compounds. You just need to peel the tough outer layer of the stem, and then you can slice it up and cook it right along with the florets. It tastes milder than the florets and adds a great crunch. And if you really want to maximize the sulforaphane, you should chop or chew your broccoli at least 40 minutes before you cook it. Just like with garlic, this allows the enzyme myrosinase to get to work and form the active sulforaphane. If you cook it immediately after chopping, you risk destroying that enzyme. So, chop your broccoli, let it sit on the cutting board for a while, and then cook it. And for the ultimate powerhouse, broccoli sprouts contain 20 to 100 times more glucoraphanin than mature broccoli. You can find them in some grocery stores, or you can even sprout them yourself. Adding a handful of these sprouts to a sandwich or a salad is like putting a security team on duty inside your body. So here is the takeaway from all of this. It is not about overhauling your entire life overnight or buying expensive supplements that promise the world. It is about these small, intentional tweaks to the foods you are probably already eating. It is about letting your garlic sit for 10 minutes. It is about not peeling your mushrooms or your broccoli stems. It is about brewing your tea at the right temperature and cooking your tomatoes with a little olive oil. These are not drastic measures. They are simple, evidence-based adjustments that stack the odds in your favor. And that is really what this is all about. It is not about living in fear of every bite you take. It is about empowerment. It is about knowing that your kitchen is not just a place where you prepare meals. It is a place where you can actively influence your long-term health. Now, I would love to hear from you. Which one of these 5 everyday foods surprised you the most? Was it the garlic preparation rule, or the fact that you should be eating broccoli stems? Or maybe you have a family recipe that already does one of these things without even knowing it. Drop a comment down below and let me know. Share this video with someone who always peels their mushrooms or boils their green tea to death. Let's get a conversation going, because the more we share this kind of information, the healthier we can all become. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.